They say you only have 5 seconds to capture the viewer's attention in a YouTube video, and personally I think, and I've already run out of time. What's up gamers? It is me, your boy, and today I wanted to talk about something that no one has ever talked about before in the history of video games, and can you sense the sarcasm? Possible playable characters in video games. The last video I made about Borderlands 4 possibly being a prequel, go watch that by the way, and then the post I made on the community tab asking you guys who you think would be a good pick, I give to you the top 10 characters I would want as playable Vault Hunters in Borderlands, plus honourable mentions. Let's get straight into it. Top 10 videos, eh? What a cop-out way to voice an opinion and also list things in an easy-to-consume and fluid way, whilst also making people hate you if you put something at number 8 instead of number 7. Love it. So, I'm going to use some ideas that you guys specifically mentioned and use your judgment that you gave me on a few of them, and then include a few of my own judgments and opinions in there too. So, starting off at number 10, we have LFX game. God damn it, Crypto.
What?
Starting off at number 10, we have Moxie. The lovable, and I mean lovable, redneck in disguise, mother of 2, wife of many, Moxie is a fan favourite character that a few of you seem to want as a character in future. Now, I don't really get what her abilities would be, potentially something to do with elemental damage, seeing as how she gives out a lot of elemental damage guns, and specifically Malawan guns in a lot of cases. Maybe something to do with getting enemies to submit to her or some weird kinky shit like that, would love it. Maybe some alcohol or club related skills as well, like I don't know, extra grenade splash damage or 50% extra damage if someone at the back is chatting shit about your staff members. Taking into account that she was a member of the morally questionable gang that is the Hodunks, she would also have a knack for motor vehicles and could definitely have a skill based off her engineering know-how, like a piece of tech to throw at enemies to make them stick to the ground, because you know you gotta mix the sexy stuff in there as well. Spicy. I could also see a lot of customization options for Little Miss Moxie. You've got her classic red, black and white look going on, the newer purple and white look, and even a few curveballs like her sexy Hodunk Origins skin, and super recent, how the fuck are you keeping those thangs thanging in the character model skin? I can see it all now. No, seriously, I can see it all. Like, put it away. Put it away. The only thing stopping Moxie from being higher on the list is, number 1, not many people really mentioned it. 2, it's kind of hard to think of a character skill for her. I mean, she does have a lot of things going for her, but it is still quite hard to think of a specific skill. Skill trees, yeah, because she can have elemental-based stuff, because she loves the elemental-based stuff. Things to do with innuendos, cool, you can name skills after that. But think of an action skill is kind of hard. And also, unless you do a prequel, like I mentioned in my video, go watch it. It's kind of difficult to actually enforce the fact that she would be a Vault Hunter. She's too established as an NPC, and she doesn't really have any reason to do any of that. She does have things going on, as whenever you encounter her, she's always doing some random wacky shit like, why the hell are you over here, Moxie? Why you got this? You've got so many side quests of your own going on, I'm not even going to question it. But unless, once again, it's a prequel and it goes back really, really far and she's not a Vault Hunter, she's just some sort of character, I don't really see her being involved at all. It's more of a what if than a can it be type of situation. So that's number 10. Now, moving on to number 9. If it isn't my boy, General Alfonso Noxie. Now, this one's a little bit easier to justify compared to Moxie, and the only reason that he's higher is specifically because, 1, he has a lot more of a reason to be involved in a Borderlands-based story, seeing as how he's a super important character when we meet him in Borderlands 1, and because it seems a lot better to come up with skills for this guy. I mean, literally, look at him. You're telling me you can't think of a few. Really?
Really?
Mr. Nox is, well, was a great character introduced in the Borderlands DLC. However, we never got to see any of him before he became this big depressed man-child soldier with no way to please his poor wife that we came to find in the first Borderlands. especially in a pre-sequel, prequel, re-prequel setting. It makes a lot of sense. We could explore him before he became a part of the Lance, and find out why he eventually became this massive sadborg. I just shouldn't have included that in my script. It's like a Wilhelm situation in a way. Like, did he do it himself? Did he have a massive accident that made him like this? Or was he forced to do it by the Lance themselves? ... Spooky. His skill could definitely be something to do with armor upgrades or mounting weapons to him like Wilhelm, but in a more like retro-y, Lancey way. Obviously, you don't want to copy too much from other characters like Wilhelm, but Borderlands is no stranger to doing it themselves, so fuck it, why not? So that's General Knox, number 9. Don't know if people would agree with him being higher than Moxie just because Moxie's such a fan favorite character, but for me, it makes a lot of sense, and a few of you did mention him as well. I was going to include him in my little list, but unfortunately YouTube only allows you to put 4 on a community tab page and a little poll with pictures, so I had to include 3 and then another option, because otherwise people would be like, I don't want to play as any of them, and I'm just ranting now. I'm going to stop. 8, Sledge. Okay, so, just hear me out. I think, like, 2 of you mentioned this guy, and then one of them made legitimate sense. The other one was just sort of a mention, but only when paired with 3 other random people not included on this list, okay? I mean, I'm not crazy in saying that it would make no fucking sense to just slap this guy with Knox, a military soldier for one of the biggest corporations in the galaxy, and Moxie, a fucking bar owner and ex-mechanic, and think, yeah, that works. These guys would all just get along. Sledge, a bandit, Knox, a military guy, and Moxie, a bar owner. No, of course not. But Sledge with a few bandit buddies or a few random bandit people who sort of get along with what he's trying to do in that type of setting where bandits are the main people you play as, that would make a lot more sense. And it would be a lot less have these guys all suffered a brain hemorrhage recently type of game. Skill, straight off the bat, can already think of it, hammer. Sledge's hammer. I mean, come on. Even Brick knew that the hammer was too good to pass up on. But to be able to basically be a mixture of Brick and Krieg together is insane. The amount of different bandit skills I can just think of based right now, it'd make a sick little character. Plus, all of that I just mentioned, plus the fact it would do Sledge as a character so much justice. Such a fan favorite character despite barely being in the franchise at all. It would give us a chance to see what he's really like, and we'd feel a tiny bit bad for killing him in Borderlands 1. Not that much, but number 7 now. No fucking refunds. Marcus is a weird one because a lot of people mention Marcus, and I mean a lot of people. I mean it's like 5 or 6 people, but that's a lot compared to the people who mentioned these previous guys. I mean, look at these fuckers. No, I don't really understand why people picked Marcus, because personally, I don't really get it. But a lot of people picked him, so this is the reason why I bumped him up compared to the other characters. One thing I want to say right off the bat is like, what would his skill be? Where? There was a mention by the Melanator 72, sick name by the way, that his ability is that he just gets a free gun, and that is potential for a good skill. Like, his skill is sort of like Claptraps, where it randomly gives him a gun with a very special ability on it, or it could give him a really shit gun, but it's got something very specific about it. It has to be something to do with guns, right? It has to be. That's literally, he is a arms dealer. Has to be something to do with that, but come on, man. I can't think of I can't think of any substantial ones. Not ones that aren't just ripping off other characters anyway. This one just doesn't jump to me like someone like Nox does, or like Captain Scarlet or something. Plus, I feel like as a character, he doesn't have much going for him. He doesn't have a very big backstory. I feel like that's one area you could really exploit with Marcus. But other than that, I don't really have much to say for Marcus. I genuinely can't think of a skill for him. I have tried, trust me, I have tried my best. The only thing I can really think of is, once again, the backstory for him isn't really as established as other characters, so in a prequel setting, he could definitely be considered as a character. It would be a nice way to flesh him out. It would be a great way for him to have a better backstory because of the fact that he doesn't have a very established one. Make him look a bit like a badass, but he doesn't really seem like that type of guy. He's got a very, not pussy, but seems to do everything he can to please everyone and please nobody, piss people off, and do the least amount of actual effort he can into making money. Doesn't really show very much main protagonist energy for Marcus. So, unfortunately, if you really wanted a big segment on Marcus, you're not going to get one. This is all you're going to get, is a small, short segment, because I genuinely have no reason. But you guys voted him, so tell me what skill you'd give him in the comments. On to number 6. This one's going to have a lot more effort in, I promise. Chug, baby, baby. Explosions? Okay, moving on to number 5. Only joshing with you, only Josh. See, I almost got you there. See, I did. Funny. Is this all worth it? Is this worth it? Mr. Torg High Five Flexington. Yes, his first name is Mr. Torg. His middle name is High Five. And his last name is, of course, Flexington. Is an obvious pick for a goofy as fuck, slightly insane, and easily pickable Vault Hunter / playable character for a Borderlands game. Now I know what you're all thinking already. God's sake, I've seen these lists 100 times before, and it's always Torg near the top. Let me guess, Tiny Tina is number 1, eh? Nope. There's a reason though, Torg is always near the top on these lists, and it's not for any random reason. He would genuinely be a perfect fit for a playable character. Explosion-based skill tree, melee-based skill tree, something about pecs probably. My imagination does ring wild whenever me and my mates used to have these types of conversations back in the day at like 3 AM on the PlayStation 4 party chat, stoned out of our heads. And guess who would always come up? Though by now a lot of you are probably thinking that realistically Gearbox would never add so many well-known or already introduced characters into a game and would just add new characters we'd never heard of, like with Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3. And yes, of course that's probably the case, but hell, look at the pre-sequel. The base game at least, every single character were all ones we'd come to know of so far. So don't throw the idea away of playing as Torg, okay? Please just let the dream of me playing Torg play. Number 5 time now, and it's about time that we venture off into the land of Nod. The wasteland for interesting people and potential. Borderlands 3 original characters. Typhon de Leon is one of the first people that came into my mind when I think of Vault Hunters I'd want to play as. And of course, he's one of the only Vault Hunters that we meet that we haven't been able to play as. So, it kind of makes sense, you know? He's the OG of all this Vault Hunting bullshit. This is the type of guy that when you said you killed a Vault monster last week, he says, try 20 years ago, pal. The type of guy that when you said you find the architecture of Iridians interesting, he says he shagged his wife on them. Absolute unit. In Borderlands 3, we can already see that he's got that little purple whip with him. Kinky. So there's your skill sorted out already. And whilst in the posters of him at his prime level, he never had it, he's got a little tiny little indentation on his left eye. A possible upgrade to his eyesight that could enhance his vision. Maybe a thermal or infrared sensor. Skill tree bait. I don't know, skill tree. Considering Gearbox have already done like half the work for me here, not much else can really be said. I want to see this guy at his prime, like probably anyone who saw that poster of him and then saw what he turned out to be, Danny DeVito looking ass. Of course, he would also easily fit well into a prequel setting. So get him on a game, man. Get him on a game. You've already teased him. You've killed him. The only way to go is prequel. So, yeah. Number 4 now. Okay, so we're getting into very dangerous territory here. We're into top 4. So this is just outside of the top 3. This is probably where you guys are going to get quite angry at me. Number 4 is Tiny Tina.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now. Stop your booing. I know. Most people would probably put Tiny Tina at the top of their lists at number 1 or maybe number 2. But not me. I am not like other girls. Whilst Tina is a great pick and clearly very easy to put at number 1 and a fan favourite one, trust me, you guys made that very clear, she's very overrated and someone that doesn't justify to instantly shoot up to the top for me personally. Similar to Torg, she's a kind of insane goofball that loves explosions and having a potentially deadly diet to most people. Like, crumpets? Really? Is that it?
What is a crumpet anyway?
It is a griddle cake made from flour and yeast, traditionally eaten with butter. All I ever eat, son.
Ever? Seriously? You should literally be dead.
No, dog! I gotta live forever!
Having your skill trees established is easier than most others on this list, but not a few. If you ever played Valorant, by the way, or maybe even not, you still might have heard of them, you probably heard of a character called Raze. She's got this little robot that seeks out enemies and a rocket launcher as an ultimate. This would basically just be what I'd have as a skill for Tina. Either a little explosive robot gizmo gadget thing, or an upgradable rocket launcher. Or hell, Borderlands 3 has shown us that why not both? She is a perfect fit, don't get me wrong, but a very obvious and overpicked one. So that is why she's just outside of the top 3. I am not a hipster. Yeah, hopefully you guys, if you haven't killed me already, won't kill me once you hear what number 3 is. This is number 3. Reese motherfucking Strong Fork, baby. The fact I've put him above probably the most favorite to be a playable character in the whole franchise is definitely gonna piss some people off, but hear me out. Let me cook. So, you remember Tales from the Borderlands, right? Well, of course you do. And remember Loaderbot, right? You know that little scene where you pick what upgrades you want him to have and shit? Boom. That's just Flack's 4th skill tree. Shut the fuck up. I thought of it years ago. So yeah, I would love for Reese to have this little reunion with Loaderbot in this new game. Maybe even have him create a special Atlas version of the Loaderbot specifically for his personal skill, and have it be fully customizable. I'm thinking a mix of Flack's 4th skill tree and Death Trap as a whole to make this work. Mixing that with the swap in and out that Mose has with Iron Bear's weapons and augments, and bam! There you go. A way better, fully loaded, full-size version of that shitty little one we got in Borderlands 3. All of that stuff that I just mentioned, added to the fact that they kind of ruined Reese as a character in Borderlands 3, means we need to see him as a protagonist again. And if they aren't going to do that with new Tales from the Borderlands, then this is the only way that we're going to be able to get that. This is obviously a bit of bias, of course. It's an opinionated top 10 list written by me of all people. But I wasn't lying when I say I've literally had this idea since the first episode of Tales from the Borderlands came out back in 2014. So this is like a pent-up wank type of relief that I'm finally getting out there. Number 2. Madont. Steel. Literally a siren. What else do you want from me? The most underutilized character in the whole franchise, in my opinion, just had to be a siren, didn't it? It's mad to me that they just killed Steel off without even showing us what power she had. No, seriously. Genuinely. They actually never did. Like, what? Mate, you can't just give us a siren as a main antagonist and make them shit. Oh, right. Considering the fact we don't know any specific powers for Steel, even after fighting her one-on-one as Steel Trap, this gives great potential for possible siren powers to be shown off, and a variety at that, as shown in Borderlands 3. If she was to be implemented into a proper prequel game, it would give the writers a lot of reasons to give her some good backstory and possibly show why her powers are never to be seen in Borderlands 1. Maybe she had to give them up similar to Lilith to save someone or something. Maybe she got them drained, maybe something else. I don't know. I'm just trying to defend terrible writing at this point. It can't be argued that an underused literal siren without shown powers and some sick tats isn't instantly top 3 for everyone out there. Because she definitely is for me. So, before we get into the proper meat and potatoes that is top 1, I'm just going to tease y'all a little bit by briefly going over some honourable mentions I thought would be good to add. 1, because I couldn't see them being in the top 10, but I thought they were good to mention. And 2, I know about 10 of you that would probably home in on my IP address and DDoS me for a week straight if I didn't. So, yeah, but nah, please don't do that. Right, for number 1, we've got Sir Hammy the Lock, a.k.a. Sir Hammerlock, a.k.a. Alistair. I mean, it's just Aurelia, really. I mean, Aurelia's good with snipers, but she can make things cold. Hammerlock is good with snipers. Not underselling him, but I feel like Hammerlock is already too established as a character. Plus, in a prequel setting, we've already had a Hammerlock. Move on. Rose from Bounty of Blood. Now, this one was actually kind of cool. The only thing is that she's kind of just cowboy. She's got a very cool character, I can give her that. It'd be nice to see her, but I feel like, me personally, I can't really think of her as a character. But they did the same thing with the pre-sequel characters. You know, I didn't really think Wilhelm was a good character to play as, but they fucking proved me wrong. Tannis. Nah, I don't think Tannis would work. I feel like it's good to mention her, but she wouldn't work as a character. She's already had too much of background. She seems like she wouldn't really fight people in a setting. She doesn't even feel like she looks like she can't even operate a fucking handgun. Doubt she's going to be able to play as a Vault Hunter / playable character. Ellie is sort of the opposite of Tannis. She sort of seems like she'd be really good at it, but I can't really think of a skill to play as her, you know. Helena Pierce was actually a really good one. If I was going to include her, she'd probably make number 11. Super interesting character, super underutilized, but instead of having her as a playable character, if I was going to make a prequel game, I would make her as a main protagonist that is sort of like more involved with the story in a way, you know. I just want to see her more, but obviously she's dead, so unless they make a prequel, can't do that. And last is Tacta Hodunk. I just thought it was funny to mention that. Someone mentioned Tacta Hodunk, and I thought, what? But yeah. So now we're just going to move on to what you guys actually want to hear about, which is number 1. A lot of you might be able to guess this. Some people be thinking in the back of their heads, you've gone through Tiny Teen, you've gone through Torg, you've gone through this, you've gone through that. What could possibly be at number 1? Well, I'm going to tell you. Number 1 of top 10 Borderlands characters I want to play as is Captain Scarlet. Though already having an established backstory and not being the vault hunting type of person, anyone can have a change of heart, can't they? I mean, maybe after seeing how easily the Vault Hunters defeated her in Borderlands 2 and claimed the treasure, she decided that she wanted to be that type of treasure hunter too. I mean, think about it. Vault hunting is very similar to being a pirate after all. Lots of loot, tons of killing, and potential for backs to be stabbed. It all comes around full circle very smoothly. Her skill and skill trees would also be a lot of fun to think about and use. Pirate-based skill trees with possible melee builds and explosive-based attacks, with backstabbing giving her benefits. There's this Reddit comment I saw which is golden and I just had to include here. It's by Green Tiger, who mentions Scarlet's skills if she were a character. Buccaneer, melee tree, skills at close distance between you and the soon-to-be loot on the ground. Honest associate, support / teamwork tree. Not really. Gets bonuses from the team's weapons and shields, and gets even better bonuses when the rest of the team is hurting. And Cannoneer. Explosive weapons tree, focused on artillery fire. I mean, if someone can literally make 3 whole skill trees based off your character, then that easily shows me that she has great vault hunting potential. It's also a massive bonus to me that she's extremely recognizable and super funny. She screams Vault Hunter to me and could have a great build-up in character if a new game featured her. I'm definitely thinking like a cannon or a sword for her skill. It has to be piratey, okay? It has to be piratey. I can definitely see people being right now like, oh, how have you put Scarlet above Tina? Like, Tina, or even Talk. Listen, right? I absolutely love Captain Scarlet as a character. And when I first met her in Borderlands 2, I was like, ayo, if we can never play as this person, what the fuck are we doing with our lives? Honestly. Some characters grab me. Some characters really make me go, I want to see them as a playable character. Some of them go, they'll be okay, but honestly, I'd rather have them as an NPC. And she was one that just went, boom. Please. Character. So much potential. Number 1. Numero uno. Top 1. Yeah. So that was my characters I want to play as in Borderlands. Top 10 thing. Cheers for watching. I really appreciate it if you've made it to the end. Make sure to click the sub button. Only 0% of you subscribed to the channel. But nah, I really appreciate you guys watching if you've got to the end. Obviously, you've got other videos you can watch from me. Make sure to watch the prequel video. It's sort of like a similar vibe to this one. Same genre of content. But if not, I've got a few other things I could chill, but I'm just not, I can't be arsed. Like and comment and all that shit, you know how YouTube works. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Peace.